got here 4 council members, Suzanne as the president, Julian, the immediate past president, Barry Holland, past president, but not many pasts, let's say past president, and Jonathan. Thank you very much for coming. And thank you for pretending to understand everything. Because I don't know how was so far, but I know that you speak Italian. So especially Barry, because Barry Holland deserves the Italian nationality, not by marriage, not by birth, but by house, because actually he has where do you have your house in Italy? Your home
in the Marche.
In the Marche.
San Giorgio.
Porto San Giorgio, perfect. So actually I will propose you for the Italian nationality. So Suzanne, if you want to join me here, please. Suzanne is the president of the Notary Society. She was just appointed, when was that, in September?
4 weeks ago.
4 weeks ago. So, and we have already attended actually the event in Rome I was mentioning before, the National Congress of the Italian Notaries. So they've been very, very, very kind to invite us. I think for the, if it's not the first time, it's the second time, probably, because last time some of us attended. And because we are building a lot, and we are ring-fencing the relationships between the Italian notaries and the English notaries. Why? Because of the numbers, because we have 390,000 Italians here, but throughout England and Wales, but also in the United Kingdom. I don't see here, because probably she's still on the bus, the president of the committees of Scotland and Northern Ireland. This will add extra, I think, 30,000. And then Manchester, the consular jurisdiction of Manchester, they have another 120,000. So we're talking about huge numbers. And can you imagine with these numbers how many notarial documents travel, as the President Bino was saying before, how many documents on a daily basis travel from here to Italy and vice versa. Actually, I would say from here to Italy most. So it is important that there is a dialogue, that there is understanding, that there is hopefully this protocol that by the end of the year was promised that will be somehow finalized between the English notaries and the Italian notaries. So Suzanne, thank you very much. Can you do your speech in Italian, please? No, just joking. Thank you very much. And Suzanne will say a few words on behalf of the Notary Society.
Grazie mille, Alessandro. Buongiorno. I'm not going to give my speech in Italian. It's going to be much shorter than President Bino. The Notary Society of England and Wales represents the notaries here. There are 758 notaries in England and Wales. 38 of those are scrivener notaries, but we are all common law notaries. So every single notary in this country is a common law notary. The scrivener notaries, the 38 of them, practice in more than 2 other languages. But a lot of general notaries also practice in other languages because they are fluent in languages, but they practice as solicitors. And all notaries have legal qualifications. So we are unlike our American colleagues who are also common law, but they obviously, if you buy your newspaper, your espresso, you can also get your real estate documents notarized at the same time in America. We are very different here, although obviously in England and Wales we are a common law jurisdiction. But we are highly qualified as notaries. So we all have legal qualifications. That is obviously a legal degree. And most notaries also practice as solicitors. We have very few barristers who practice, but a majority are solicitors. And they conduct their other legal work under the auspices of the Law Society. And they are qualified and regulated by the Law Society. But as a notary, we are appointed by the Archbishop of Canterbury. So originally, notaries in this country were scribes. They were appointed by the Pope. And then, of course, we had our Reformation in England and Wales. And back in the 16th century, the church became the Church of England and not the Church of Rome. And therefore, notaries are still appointed by the church, by the Archbishop of Canterbury, so not appointed by and not regulated by the Solicitors Regulation Authority. We are regulated by the delegated authority from the church to the Master of the Faculty Office, And the master is the most senior ecclesiastical judge in the country, and they regulate us and also give us our practicing certificates. We have a very highly esteemed educational policy. We have to complete continuing education, and therefore we are tested every year on our education side, and that's very highly esteemed. And we have a very advanced program within the Notarial Society here to make sure that the standards are upheld and that we are kept abreast of all changes. And obviously we practice a lot of international law, because our function here as notaries is not domestic. So because we are a common law jurisdiction, we do not have a domestic practice here. The only things we are needed here for in our common law jurisdiction are items of bills of exchange and shipping protests. Bills of exchange are a very historic thing, harking back to the City of London's trading international centre. Shipping protests we do some of when we have a crash of ships or a sinking of a ship in English water and you need to prove what cargo was lost. The insurers want that notarised. But that is our only real domestic function. Our function is international. So all of our work is for the rest of the world, and that is obviously all of the civil law countries require notarization, but also a lot of the common law notaries and the Commonwealth countries also require notarization for any legal transaction. And as you know, that can range from getting married on a beach in Bali to selling and buying a very multinational company across the world. I practice as a solicitor in the City of London in an international law firm, Charles Russell Speechlys, and my practice area is tax and trusts. I also have an Italian tax team in my department because most of my clients are international. They happen to live here, but they conduct their business internationally. And a lot of my clients, my private clients, are moving to Italy because you have a very generous tax regime, unlike us now. And a lot of my clients are moving, and so there is a lot of work with moving clients to Italy because you have a very generous forfait scheme, even though you've doubled it in the last few months to 200,000 euros a year. It's still very generous compared to the tax system we have here for non-domiciliaries here, which of course is going and will be soon to be replaced by a residence-based scheme. So our role is very international, and as Alessandro said, we are very keen on making sure that our work here as notaries is recognised internationally, and we've built up very good relations with our civil law colleagues, and that dialogue will continue. We've been invited to the UINL conference in Puerto Rico in December, where we will continue the discussions and the comparisons between common law and civil law, and making sure that any notarial act done in our country is recognised abroad. And we were one of the first countries in the world to adopt the e-apostille, and which sounds amazing, but of course it's not recognised everywhere yet, unfortunately. And so even though we can produce an e-apostille, and thanks to Jonathan Hewitt, one of my council members, we also produce e-signatures and electronic notarisation, it's not always recognised, and we produce it, but then we're still asked for a hard copy sealed document to follow up in order to be actually recognised by the notary in the country on which it's going to. But that will be something that changes as the rest of the world catches up with the e-apostille and electronic verification and electronic signature of notaries. Obviously there's a way to go with making sure it is secure and that it is not subject to fraud. But it is, we conduct obviously all of the acts that President Bino is talking about. We obviously authenticate public form acts, private form acts, and we're not officers of the state because we're appointed individually and separately. We are independent, we have our own fee structure. We don't have set fees as in some countries where it is set by the state. But we have, obviously we are not allowed any price fixing in what we charge here, but our acts are are the execution of documents, the certification of documents. Public Form Act, obviously very important for powers of attorney for any transaction that's been conducted internationally. And I think that's all I was going to say, unless you'd like me to discuss anything further.
No, Suzanne. First of all, thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for my colleagues for being here. And as I said before, to pretend to understand everything. Hopefully, this will be a good exercise for you to refresh your Italian, and probably maybe next council meeting we could have like. It in Italian, why not? I mean, no, just kidding. I think I'm the first Italian qualified lawyer ever being appointed on the Council of the Notary Society. So as such, I am trying to do my best to develop and to reinforce the relationship between England and Wales and the civil law countries in general. But of course, I started with Italy. I couldn't have done differently. So Suzanne, thank you very much for your time.